All right, guys, so I just finished with fusing the inner facing to the lining. So as you can see here, like in my prior video, I was talking to you guys about tips on how to bind your lining to your interfacing. As you can see, these are two, um, now basically one, these are two things that have become one fluid piece of fabric. Okay. So, um, and I love how this feels. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over so you guys can see the interfacing um, fused to the lining feels really nice and light. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn around for you guys to see. All right, guys. So here is the lining. Okay. And this is going to be inside of my tote bag. And do you see how much motion is here? When I used interfacing that was really thick with this lining, it was just way too stiff. And with my tote bag, I am going to have to sew the tote bag inside out at first, with the basically with the lining out, and then turn it inside out, um, or turn it from, yeah, basically turn it outwards, right? And when I went ahead and like realized like how thick the lining and the interfacing felt together, and then I had sewed my fabric to it, I realized I made a mistake. So when it comes to choosing interfacing, please use the right interfacing when you're going to be working on your project, and you'll have a feeling and know if you use the right one based off of how the lining and the interfacing are working together. I mean, look at this. I can actually move this, okay? And you have to understand, I am going to be sewing the interfacing side to the fabric, to the wrong side of the fabric. And when I do that, then, yeah, when I do that, hold on, let me see if it's going to be that way to the fabric. Hold on just a second. So I'm going to sew this right here, this side where the interfacing is bonded to the lining. I'm going to sew this to my fabric, which I'll show you. All right, this is my fabric. Okay, you guys probably recognize this from my prior videos. This is the fabric I'm going to be making my tote bag out of, but I have to strengthen it a bit before I make my tote bag. So I'm going to be sewing this fabric to this interfacing that's fused to the lining. Okay, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to sew it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is that once this is all fused, okay, once I sew this all together, then what's going to happen is that I'm going to basically be sewing it inside out. So this part of the fabric is going to be sewn to another piece of fabric that's going to have interfacing and lining. And then after I'm finished, then I'll turn it inside out, and I'll add handles to it, of course, and then it'll be my tote bag. But I have a lot to do before I really get to that. So it's kind of hard to explain to you guys right now, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Like as time goes on, as you like watch my videos and stuff, you'll see what I mean. So the next step of what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pinning this fabric to this interfacing / lining. Okay. And then once I do that, okay, then this is going to be one, basically they're all going to become one piece of fabric. Okay. And then once they become one piece of fabric, then I'll be able to do the same for the other piece of fabric that I have to strengthen. And then I'll work on doing the sewing both pieces of fabric together, and then making the bag and the handles and all that. But next stop is going to be pinning, and then sewing. So like I said, this is my first time, or rather second time, dealing with making a tote bag that has interfacing and lining. First time I made a mistake. So this time I feel like I'm on the right track because the lining and interfacing is super light. So if I wave this, you see how I can wave this right here? You see how I can wave the fabric along with the interfacing, and it's not too thick. It's going to have a nice, it's going to be nice and thick enough for a tote bag for someone. So it's going to look so much better once I'm done with it. A lot of times when I'm working, with my fabric and turning it from, like fabric into a tote bag, it's like watching myself like go through the process of creating a tote bag. It's just really magical and amazing because I get to see a piece of fabric become something that I want to make. And that's like super cool. That's the great thing about sewing. That's really the cool thing. So if you guys get into making tote bags, you can experience the same thing too. There's some other things I'm going to be making too. So far right now, I don't have a new sewing class scheduled right now because I'm making a tote bag, but I will be going to another sewing class where I'm going to be making another cosmetics bag. So I'll show you a cosmetics bag that I've made. I'll show you the two of them I made so far. All right, guys. So here is one of the cosmetics bags I've made. This is the first one I've ever made. It has a zipper at the top, as you can see here. And it's very pretty, very beautiful. And it has a lining as well in the bag. Let me show you the lining. All right, guys. So you see how this has a lining in here? Like it has like a brown, shiny lining. So this is what lining looks like once it's inside of a bag. I decided to use some brown lining for this bag and things. So that's what I did as one of my projects for my sewing class. And this was after I made my first tote bag. So although this is smaller than a tote bag, it has a lot that goes into it. There's the process of learning how to sew with regard to a zipper. There's top stitching. And there's just, like dealing with lining and interfacing, and I would say, definitely start off with a tote bag first, then graduate to making a cosmetics bag. Okay. Because you'll be glad you did, because a tote bag gives you like those beginner skills first. And then you can go to a cosmetics bag. Now, if you don't feel ready, that's okay. You can always move on to, doing a coin purse or something else a little easier than moving to the cosmetics bag. All right, here's my second cosmetics bag here, okay? And this has a blue zipper here, as you can see. And it does have a lightweight interfacing in here as well. And I'm going to show you guys the lining. All right, guys. So here is this gorgeous, gorgeous lining in here. And I decided to put this beautiful pink interfacing. Well, I decided to put this beautiful pink lining in here, pop of color. It's just beautiful. People wouldn't expect this from this particular bag, but these are a couple of cosmetics bags that I've made. I'll be making a few more. I have to make at least 3 more cosmetics bags before I'm going to be like comfortable with making them, more regularly. But on my own, but without any instruction from my teacher. But just wanted to show you guys, some of what I've been working on and stuff like that, just so you can kind of see, what you can accomplish too, if you want to get into sewing as a beginner. Thanks for watching.